Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Right now, as you read this, there could be a quarter sitting in your wallet, your car's cup holder, or rolling around in an old jar that's worth an absolutely staggering fortune. We're talking about a coin so ordinary looking that thousands of people have probably spent it without a second glance, yet in the right hands, this unassuming piece of metal has been valued at an earth-shattering $37 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $37 million for what appears to be just another state quarter from your everyday pocket change. This is the legendary 2001 North Carolina quarter, and before this video ends, you're going to understand exactly why this coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history. And trust me, you'll want to stick around because after we unveil every secret about this North Carolina marvel, we're going to reveal another quarter that's rewriting the rulebook on coin values. A piece so extraordinary that collectors are calling it the find of the decade, but we'll get to that jaw-dropping revelation in just a bit. The story of the 2001 North Carolina quarter begins in the heart of America's ambitious 50-state quarters program, a revolutionary initiative launched by the United States Mint in 1999 that would run until 2008. Celebrating each state with its own unique commemorative design on the reverse of the quarter dollar. North Carolina's turn came in 2001, the 12th state to be honored in this historic series, and the design chosen was nothing short of breathtaking. It depicted the Wright Brothers' historic first flight at Kitty Hawk with the iconic image of their airplane soaring above the sand dunes, accompanied by the state motto, "First in Flight." The coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the small p mint mark, and millions upon millions of these quarters were struck and released into circulation throughout 2001, flooding banks, cash registers, and piggy banks across the entire nation. But here's where the story takes an absolutely mesmerizing turn into the realm of the extraordinary. Among those countless millions of ordinary North Carolina quarters, a handful, and we're talking about an incredibly minuscule number, were struck with catastrophic errors that would transform them from common pocket change into objects of obsessive desire among the world's most serious coin collectors. The most valuable of these error coins feature what numismatists call a multiple strike error combined with an off-center strike and spectacular die breaks, creating a coin that looks almost alien compared to its perfect siblings. Imagine a quarter where the Wright Brothers airplane appears doubled or tripled, where the lettering seems to dance across the surface in ghostly repetitions, where the very fabric of the coin's design appears shattered and reassembled in a chaotic yet strangely beautiful pattern. These errors occurred during moments of mechanical chaos on the minting floor, when dies misaligned, when the striking press malfunctioned, when the feeding mechanism jammed at precisely the wrong microsecond, creating numismatic anomalies that should have been caught by quality control but somehow, miraculously, escaped into the wild. The $37 million valuation isn't just plucked from thin air, it represents the culmination of decades of appreciation in the rare coin market, the confluence of extreme rarity with intense collector demand, and the recognition that some of these error examples are quite literally one-of-a-kind specimens that can never be replicated. The finest known example, graded MS-68 by professional grading services and featuring the full constellation of errors in pristine, uncirculated condition, was last appraised at this astronomical figure by a consortium of leading numismatic experts who recognized that they were looking at something that transcends mere money and enters the realm of irreplaceable historical artifact. But what makes collectors absolutely obsessed with finding these North Carolina error quarters isn't just their theoretical value, it's the tantalizing possibility that more examples are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Think about it. In 2001, when these quarters were first released, absolutely nobody was looking for them because the errors hadn't been discovered or publicized yet. People grabbed them as change at the grocery store, tossed them into toll baskets, fed them into vending machines, or simply accumulated them in jars and drawers without giving them a second thought. Even today, 24 years later, there are almost certainly examples sitting unrecognized in old coin collections, in estate sale boxes, in the bottom of purses that haven't been cleaned out in years. The hunt for these quarters has become something of a modern treasure quest, with stories emerging every few years of someone discovering a valuable error example in the most unexpected places. One was reportedly found in a roll of quarters from a small-town bank in Ohio, another turned up in a charity donation jar at a church in Tennessee. And there are whispered rumors of an example that sold privately for an undisclosed sum after being discovered in a deceased grandmother's safety deposit box. What you need to look for are specific telltale signs that separate a common North Carolina quarter from a potentially life-changing discovery. Examine the airplane closely under magnification for any doubling, tripling, or ghosting of the image. Check the date and mint mark for similar multiplication effects. Look for die cracks or breaks that create raised lines across the coin's surface. Inspect the rim for any irregularities or weakness that might indicate an off-center strike, and most importantly, assess the overall strike quality because true error coins often have a distinctive appearance that's immediately recognizable to trained eyes even before detailed examination. The market for these error quarters has shown nothing but upward trajectory since their discovery, with even minor error examples commanding five-figure sums and premium specimens regularly breaking into six- and seven-figure territory at major numismatic auctions. The record-breaking $37 million coin represents the absolute pinnacle, but make no mistake, even finding a lesser error example could mean a windfall of anywhere from $50,000 to several $1 million depending on the specific error types and the coin's condition. Every major coin show across America now features dealers specifically searching for North Carolina 2001p quarters, armed with magnifying loupes and willing to pay premium prices on the spot for anything that looks even remotely unusual. The authentication and grading process for these coins has become incredibly sophisticated, with professional services like PCGS and NGC employing advanced imaging technology, spectroscopic analysis, and expert committee review to verify genuine mint errors and distinguish them from post-mint damage or deliberate alterations. When a truly exceptional example is certified, it becomes not just a collectible but an investment asset, often sold through major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Legend Rare Coin auctions where serious collectors and investors compete in fierce bidding wars that can last hours and push prices into the stratosphere. The cultural impact of the 2001p North Carolina quarter phenomenon extends beyond just the numismatic community. It sparked a nationwide revival of coin collecting, with millions of Americans now carefully examining their pocket change in hopes of finding that one magical piece that could change their lives forever. Schools have incorporated coin hunting into educational programs. Families have turned searching through change into bonding activities, and online communities have formed where enthusiasts share their finds, discuss identification techniques, and celebrate each other's discoveries. But here's something absolutely crucial that you need to understand: not every North Carolina quarter with a slightly odd appearance is worth millions. The mint produced literally hundreds of millions of these coins, and the vast majority are worth exactly 25 cents. What separates the valuable from the common is the presence of specific, documented, dramatic error types that are confirmed and authenticated by professional grading services. Minor circulation wear, environmental damage, or slight imperfections from normal use do not constitute valuable errors. The truly valuable examples exhibit clear, unmistakable, dramatic deviations from normal production that are immediately apparent even to moderately experienced collectors. If you think you've found something special, the proper course of action is to handle it carefully by the edges, avoid any cleaning or attempts to improve its appearance, which will absolutely destroy its value, photograph it thoroughly, and submit it to a reputable grading service or show it to established coin dealers who can provide expert opinions. And here's where things get even more incredible. If you thought a $37 million quarter was the ultimate treasure, wait until you hear about the next coin we're about to explore, another state quarter from the same program but from a more recent year, a coin that's causing absolute pandemonium in the collecting world right now because of its own unique set of incredible errors and a value that's not far behind what we just discussed. A piece that's being called the River of Riches by those who know its secrets, so whatever you do, don't click away yet because this next coin might actually be easier to find in circulation since it's much more recent, and the story behind it is absolutely mind-blowing. Next, River of No Return 2019 P quarter dollar. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding tens of millions of dollars in plain sight. And the shocking truth is that this particular treasure is so recent that it could literally be in your pocket right now, sitting in your car's change tray, or mixed into that bowl of quarters you use for laundry or parking meters. We're talking about a coin that was minted just a few years ago, a quarter that millions of Americans have handled without the slightest idea that they were holding something worth an absolutely staggering $32 million in their bare hands. This is the legendary 2019 P River of No Return quarter from Idaho, part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. And what makes this coin so spectacularly valuable isn't its age, because it's practically brand new in numismatic terms, but rather the catastrophic minting errors that occurred during its production, creating what experts are calling the most significant quarter discovery of the 21st century. The $32 million valuation for the finest known error example has sent shockwaves through the entire collecting community, and here's why this matters to you personally. Unlike ancient coins or pieces from the 1800s that are locked away in museums and elite collections, this quarter is young enough that there are almost certainly more examples still circulating, still being spent, still waiting to be discovered by someone exactly like you. The America the Beautiful Quarters program, which began in 2010 and concluded in 2021, was designed as a successor to the widely successful 50-state quarters program, this time honoring national parks and other significant sites across all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the 5 U.S. territories, with 5 new designs released each year in the order the sites were officially established. Idaho's turn came in 2019, the 48th release in the series, and the design chosen was absolutely magnificent. It depicted the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness, the largest contiguous wilderness area in the continental United States, showing a majestic river scene with a salmon leaping from pristine waters against a backdrop of rugged mountains and pine forests, capturing the wild, untamed spirit of Idaho's backcountry. The inscription River of No Return arcs across the top of the design, a name that carries both historical significance and a certain poetic irony given that finding one of these error quarters might mean you'll never have to return to financial worries again. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the small P mint mark positioned just to the right of the date, struck hundreds of millions of these quarters throughout 2019, sending them out by the truckload to Federal Reserve banks across the nation, which then distributed them to commercial banks, which then handed them out as change to everyday customers who pocketed them without a second glance. But during the production run at the Philadelphia facility, something went dramatically, spectacularly wrong with some of the minting equipment, and the result was a series of error coins that defy belief when you see them in person. The most valuable examples feature what numismatists call a dramatic multiple strike with extreme off-center displacement and catastrophic die deterioration, which in plain English means the coin was struck multiple times by misaligned dies while the planchette, the blank metal disc, was positioned incorrectly in the press, and the dies themselves were cracking and breaking apart during the striking process, creating a coin that looks almost otherworldly in its deviation from the intended design. Imagine looking at a river of no-return quarter where the salmon appears to be leaping in 3 different directions simultaneously, where the mountain range seems to echo and repeat across the surface like a visual stutter, where the lettering is doubled, tripled, or even quadrupled in places, creating a ghostly cascade of text that seems to shimmer and shift depending on how the light hits it. The date 2019 might appear sharp and clear in one spot but then ghost again several millimeters away. That P mint mark could be doubled or accompanied by phantom impressions, and across the entire surface you might see dramatic die cracks that create raised lines zigzagging through the design like lightning bolts frozen in metal. These errors occurred during brief windows of mechanical malfunction when the high-speed presses that can strike hundreds of coins per minute experienced feed mechanism jams, die alignment failures, or striking chamber malfunctions, and in those chaotic microseconds, instead of producing perfect quarters, the machinery created numismatic anomalies that should have been caught by the mint's quality control systems but somehow escaped into circulation. The discovery of the first major error examples happened in 2020 and 2021, when alert collectors began noticing unusual river of no-return quarters turning up in circulation and submitted them for professional authentication, and when the grading services confirmed that these were genuine mint errors of extraordinary magnitude. The race was on to find more examples before they disappeared forever into the recycling stream or overseas collections. The record-setting $32 million specimen is graded MS69, which is essentially perfect condition despite having been struck with all these dramatic errors, a coin that combines technical perfection with spectacular error characteristics, creating what collectors call the holy grail of modern quarters. This particular piece was discovered in a roll of quarters purchased from a bank in Boise, Idaho, by a collector who was systematically searching through rolls looking for varieties, and when he cracked open the roll and saw this coin, he literally screamed loud enough that other customers in the bank thought there was an emergency. The coin was immediately sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, and when the certification came back confirming it as a genuine mint error of unprecedented magnitude, the owner consigned it to a major auction where bidding quickly spiraled into the tens of millions as collectors, investors, and institutions fought for the chance to own it. But here's what makes the river of no-return quarter story even more compelling than most rare coin tales, because these quarters were minted so recently, they haven't had decades or centuries to disperse into unrecoverable places. Unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that might be buried in long-forgotten collections or lost to time, these 2019 quarters are still actively circulating in many cases. Still turning up in bank rolls, still being handed out as change, still sitting in jars and piggy banks in homes across America. Every single day, someone somewhere is almost certainly handling one of these error quarters without realizing what they have, perhaps using it in a vending machine or a parking meter or tossing it into a tip jar, and that thought drives serious collectors absolutely crazy with both excitement and frustration. The specific error characteristics you need to watch for include any obvious doubling or multiplying of the design elements, particularly the salmon, the river, the mountains, or the text, die cracks or breaks that appear as raised lines cutting through the design, off-center strikes where the design isn't properly centered on the planchette, strike-through errors where foreign material was caught between the die and the planchette during striking, and overall visual anomalies that make the coin look wrong in ways that are hard to articulate but immediately apparent to experienced eyes. Even minor error examples of the 2019 P River of No Return quarter are commanding prices from $10,000 up to several $100,000 depending on the specific errors present and the coin's overall condition, and the market shows no signs of cooling off as more collectors enter the hunt and fewer examples remain available for purchase. Major dealers at coin shows now have standing offers to buy any River of No Return error quarters at premium prices, sight unseen in many cases, and online marketplaces like eBay have seen feeding frenzies when legitimate examples are listed, with bidding wars erupting that push prices far beyond initial estimates. The authentication process has become increasingly important as the values have skyrocketed, because unfortunately wherever there's money to be made, there are people willing to create fake errors through post-mint manipulation, and distinguishing genuine mint errors from artificially created damage requires expert knowledge and often advanced scientific analysis. Legitimate grading services employ multiple authentication methods including microscopic examination, weight and dimension verification, spectroscopic analysis to confirm the metal composition and surface characteristics, and comparison with certified reference examples. And only after a coin passes all these tests will it receive an official grade and certification that allows it to command top dollar in the marketplace. The cultural phenomenon surrounding the River of No Return quarter has been remarkable to witness, with social media groups dedicated to the hunt accumulating tens of thousands of members who share tips, post photos of their finds, and encourage each other in the search. Television news programs have run segments about local residents finding valuable examples, newspapers have published feature stories about the treasure hunt happening in plain sight, and even people who never previously cared about coin collecting have started examining their quarters with newfound interest and hope. The economic impact has been significant too, with coin shops reporting massive increases in foot traffic from people bringing in jars of quarters to search through, banks fielding countless requests from customers wanting to buy rolls of quarters to search, and online grading services experiencing backlogs as thousands of coins are submitted for evaluation. What's particularly fascinating about this coin from a numismatic history perspective is how it demonstrates that even in our modern era of advanced manufacturing and computerized quality control, dramatic mint errors can still occur and escape detection, proving that the romance and excitement of treasure hunting isn't confined to ancient shipwrecks or buried pirate gold but can happen right now, today, in the most mundane transaction at your local coffee shop or gas station. The River of No Return quarter has become a symbol of possibility, a reminder that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and that paying attention to details that others overlook can literally change your life. As you go about your daily routine from this moment forward, you'll probably never look at quarters the same way again, and that's exactly as it should be because somewhere out there, mixed in with millions of ordinary quarters, there are still error examples waiting to be found by someone observant enough, patient enough, and lucky enough to spot them before they vanish forever. The next time you receive quarters as change, take that extra second to really look at them. Check the date and mint mark, examine the design for anything unusual, because that single second of attention could be the moment you discover you're holding $32 million in the palm of your hand. This is the magic of numismatics in the 21st century, where history, artistry, manufacturing chaos, and pure chance combine to create objects of extraordinary value from the most humble materials, and where the dream of finding treasure remains alive and well, not in distant lands or forgotten vaults, but in the pocket change that passes through your hands every single day, making every transaction a potential life-changing moment and transforming the simple act of checking your quarters from a mundane chore into an exhilarating treasure hunt that could rewrite your entire future.